Hi there, my name is Joseph Williams and I am the co-founder and CEO of ZeroKey, and we are entirely focused on integrating technology and helping financial advisors eliminate manual data entry because despite best intentions, the need to manually key data between systems remains a major pain point, not only for advisors, but for tech providers themselves. So to help explain a bit more, I'm going to demo what we have built. We've been building for a little over 12 months now, so I'll go through a few examples of what we built in 2024 and also touch upon a few things we'll be introducing in 2025. So we're just going to log into ZeroKey and enter our two-factor code. Now, as soon as we are logged in, you'll be greeted by the homepage. And this page is all about feeding back how much time has been saved using ZeroKey. Now, for ease of explanation, you can view ZeroKey as a bit of a middleman. Advisors can use us to pull data in from one system and push it into another. And the way they do this is via our web extension. So in the top right-hand side, you'll notice the ZeroKey icon, and as soon as this icon is selected, a sidebar will appear. Now, the reason we've gone with this approach is because we want to place client data at the fingertips of financial advisors. We want them to have easy access to their clients' data, regardless of what web page they are working on. Now, the first step in the process is to set up an actual integration. We need a source of data to populate the web extension. So we'll head across to the integrations page. And now this page is where you'll find all of the integrations, as well as all of the quick actions we have so far built. And I'll demo a few quick actions in just a second. But to get started, we'll start by integrating with Time for Advice Curo. The integration process is really easy, and with only a few clicks, the integration will be activated. And there you go, the integration is successful. Now, what this means is when we next open the web extension, Curo will now be available to select as a source of data. Now, from here, we can search for all of the clients that we have stored within our Curo account. In this case, we'll search for example client. Now, as soon as we select example client, all of the fact find data that we have stored for this particular client will be pulled from Curo and presented for us to view. This is anything from basic client details through to savings and investments that they may have. Now, it's important to note that we do not store any client data. Instead, we simply act as the conduit. We pull it in from a source and present it for you to view. So far, this is just a really handy piece of kit which gives you easy access to your client's data. So if you need to find their telephone number or national insurance number, for example, it's right there at your fingertips for you to also copy and paste. So if you are filling out a form, for example, rather than manually keying the data in, you can simply open the web extension and copy and paste the data across. However, as good as that is, there is still a little bit of friction involved with even copying and pasting into a form, which is why we have developed something called quick actions. So to summarize, a quick action seeks to reduce the effort involved with filling out a form, for example, down to a single click. Now, to demo this, I'm just going to quickly jump into Timeline. Now, we're in Timeline, we're logged into Timeline, and we're currently on the My Clients page. And as you can see, the page is empty. So to add a client into Timeline, rather than selecting the blue Add a Client button and then manually filling in the Add a Client form, we're going to do something different. Instead, we're going to open up the web extension and we're going to go to the Quick Actions tab. Notice there is a 1 on the Quick Actions tab. This is informing us that Quick Action is available. And there you go, the option to add example client as a client into Timeline is available for us to click. Now, as soon as we select this option, ZeroKey will immediately pull all of the necessary data from Curo and push this into Timeline, creating the client in the process. And from here, we can work through the process of adding more data in. So on this page, for example, when adding an investment, rather than manually key in policy name, latest valuations, etc., we can simply open the web extension, go to the Quick Actions tab, and find the investment or pension we wish to add. In this case, we're going to add an ISA from Transact, and as soon as we select the quick action, ZeroKey will immediately pull all of the necessary data from Curo and push this into Timeline. Again, we haven't manually keyed any client data, meaning we've saved time, and also, more importantly, we've retained the data's integrity. Likewise, when we land on the Incomes page, we can again open the web extension and go to the Quick Actions tab. Here, you'll find the option to add their incomes, and again, as soon as we select the quick action, ZeroKey will immediately pull all of the necessary data from Curo and push this into Timeline. No manual data entry, saving us time and retaining the data's integrity. It's worth noting at this point that neither Timeline nor Curo have had to do any work to make this happen. We've absorbed the responsibility for the build, and as a result, we've saved both Timeline and Curo the need to build an integration between themselves. And secondly, functionality now exists between two pieces of tech which, previously, may not have even been built. Next, we'll head across into a platform, and specifically we'll go to 7IM. Now, what you can do on 7IM, and in fact most other platforms now, is use ZeroKey to help eliminate manual data entry when starting a new application or generating an illustration, etc. Now, with 7IM, and in this example, we'll be presented with an empty application form. Now, in every other instance, you would be required to manually key client data into this form. But with ZeroKey, of course, we've developed a quick action which will enable us to populate this form. Now, with this quick action, try to keep an eye on both sides of the screen if you can, because as soon as we select it, the form will auto-populate the empty fields. Again, what this has done is it's pulled all of the necessary data from Curo and pushed this into 7IM, saving us roughly 39 seconds in the process, and also, more importantly, retain the data's integrity. To show another platform, I know Fidelity is supporting today's event, so we'll jump into Fidelity and go to the Create Prospect form. Again, this will operate in a similar way, whereby the quick action will auto-populate the form or the empty fields by pulling all of the necessary data from Curo and pushing it into Fidelity. To do this, simply open up the web extension, go to the Quick Actions tab, and there's the option to populate the Create Prospect form. Now, as soon as you select it, the fields on the left-hand side are going to auto-populate with client data. And there we go, the fields have now been completed. Just a very quick note on how we calculate the time saving. So we assign 0.3 seconds per character of data that is transferred through us. So in that last example, we saved ourselves approximately 38 seconds. Next, for the purpose of research and analysis, we'll head into Fintegrate. So we'll go across and log into Fintegrate now. Now, as soon as we are logged in, you'll notice Example Client already exists as a client within Fintegrate. So we'll go ahead and select Example Client and go straight to their existing policies section, which is currently empty. No policies currently exist. But what you can do, of course, rather than manually keying their policies into Fintegrate, is open up the web extension and go to the Quick Actions tab, and there you'll find the option to add their policies into Fintegrate from Curo. However, rather than selecting this particular quick action and pulling the data from Curo, we'll demonstrate what we are seeking to introduce at the start of 2025. Now, it's important to note that we have built ZeroKey for scalability, meaning all of the quick actions we have developed so far and will develop in the future will be compatible with any source of data. This is because we've developed a centralized API which standardizes data and provides mapping between technology providers. Ultimately, this means if we switch source of data from a back office to a platform, in this case a Fidelity, you'll notice the logos change on screen now. The quick action knows what data to pull from where, and we can now add policies into Fintegrate directly from a platform. Fidelity have inherited these quick actions. So we'll go ahead and select the quick action, and what ZeroKey will now do is immediately pull all of the necessary data from Fidelity and push this into Fintegrate. And this would include policy name, policy type, latest valuations, etc., as well as the fund information. We haven't had to key any of this data. And of course, if we link this back to what we said about Timeline earlier on, this saves the need for either party to build the integration themselves. On the topic of Timeline, we added an investment into this system earlier on during this demonstration, and this sort of functionality whereby you can add data such as an investment or pension directly from a platform into Timeline is something which could ultimately benefit them and their users. And of course, this is also relevant for other tech such as your cash cows and so on. So in a nutshell, that is ZeroKey, and I hope it has provided a flavor of what we do. There is plenty more we are doing, so please do stay tuned. Just very quickly before we do close, you may have noticed that throughout this entire demo, we've only ever had one tab open. We haven't had multiple tabs open or multiple screens open at any time, and that there is the purpose of ZeroKey. We want to place client data at the fingertips of financial advisors so they can move it from A to B with ease and without any manual data entry. And that's it from me. If anything I've said today is of interest and you'd like to find out more, please do not hesitate to reach out to either myself or Steve Mitchell, who sat at the back of the room there. I'll now hand back to Clive and the team. Thank you ever so much for your time. Thank you.